I planned to knock, say, "I'm home," and leave before sunset. But Vince's boots scrape across the wooden floor, cheap beer and old sweat filling my nostrils, and his fist crashes down like the years I've been gone never existed. 2 years away made him forget one thing: I'm an officer now. And tonight, I'm not my mother's silent daughter anymore. Blood tastes metallic at the corner of my mouth while the phone in my jacket pocket records everything. I let him narrate his own violent history through his growls. When the Ironwood County Patrol sirens pierce the cold night, the family charade ends and my legal revenge begins. My name is Natalie Rhodes, and I've been gone from Ridgeview for exactly 2 years, 3 months, and 17 days. Not that I'm counting. The North Rim Public Safety Corps badge sits heavy in my jacket pocket as I stand on the porch of my mother's house, still can't call it home, watching November wind scatter dead leaves across the yard. The screen door hangs crooked, same as when I left. Some things never change. I knock twice. Mom's footsteps shuffle toward the door, that familiar hesitant gait that means Vince is home. The door cracks open, and Marla Rhodes peers out, her face lighting up for half a second before fear shadows it again. Natalie. "Oh, honey, you should have called first." "Hey, Mom." I step forward, and she has no choice but to let me in. The living room reeks of cigarettes and something sour spilled beer soaking into carpet that hasn't been cleaned in months. "Just came to check on you. Maybe grab some of my old things from the attic." Vince's voice booms from his recliner before I see him. Well, well, look who decided to grace us with her presence. He doesn't get up, just sits there in his stained undershirt, a Coors can sweating in his meaty fist. His eyes are already glassy 4:30 in the afternoon, and he's deep into his daily routine. The big bad officer finally remembers where she came from. I keep my voice level. "Hello, Vince." "That's it. Hello, Vince." He lurches to his feet, all 6'3" of him, belly straining against his belt. 2 years of nothing, and that's what I get. Your mother cried herself to sleep for months after you abandoned us. Mom touches my arm. "It's fine, honey. We're just surprised." Surprised. Vince's laugh is bitter. "That's rich. You know what surprises me, that they let someone like you carry a badge, playing soldier, pretending you're tough." He takes a step closer, and I smell the familiar cocktail beer, Marlboros, and that underlying stench of rage that never washes off. Probably warming beds to get ahead, just like, "Vince, please." Mom whispers, "Shut up. Marla." He doesn't even look at her. His bloodshot eyes stay locked on mine. "I'm talking to your ungrateful daughter, the one who thinks she's too good for us now." I slide my hand into my jacket pocket, feeling for my phone. 3 taps on the side button recording starts automatically, a feature I programmed before driving into town. My other hand finds my keys, pressing the small tracker that shares my location with Tessa Ward, my academy roommate who now works dispatch in the next county. "I don't think I'm too good for anyone," I say, keeping my tone neutral. Every de-escalation training session floods back. Stay calm, don't engage, document everything. I came to see Mom and get my things. That's all. Your things. Vince moves faster than a drunk man should. His hand shoots out, shoving my shoulder hard enough to send me stumbling backward into the wall. A picture frame crashes to the floor, Mom's wedding photo with my real dad, the one she still secretly keeps. Everything in this house belongs to me. I pay the bills. I keep the roof over your mother's head while you run off playing cop. Mom makes a small sound, maybe protest, maybe fear. She backs into the kitchen doorway, hands wringing that dish towel she always carries like a security blanket. "I put money in Mom's account every month," I say, straightening up. My shoulder throbs where it hit the wall, but I don't rub it, never show pain. $500, direct deposit. His face goes purple. "You think you can buy your way back and think money makes up for abandoning your family." The slap comes without warning, open palm across my face, hard enough to snap my head sideways. My ear rings. Copper floods my mouth where my teeth cut the inside of my cheek. Old Natalie would have cowered. Officer Rhodes stands her ground. I'm done being your punching bag, Vince. The words come out steady despite the blood I can taste. And I'm done watching you do it to her. That's when his fist connects with my ribs. The pain explodes through my chest, dropping me to one knee. Mom screams something I can't make out over the roaring in my ears. Vince grabs my hair, yanking my head back. You don't talk to me like that in my house. You hear me? You're nothing but a sirens. Beautiful, perfect sirens cutting through the night. Tessa must have called it in the second my tracker went active. Vince releases me, stepping back, his whole demeanor shifting in an instant. He smooths his shirt, runs a hand through his thinning hair. Marla, get some ice for your daughter. She tripped and fell. He looks down at me, and his smile is cold. Isn't that right? Officer Rhodes, you tripped. I pull myself up, keeping my phone recording in my pocket, tasting blood and victory in equal measure. The sirens grow louder. This time, I won't be silent. This time, I have a plan. The deputy's flashlight cuts through our living room like a searchlight exposing secrets. I recognize him, Deputy Morrison. Been with Ironwood County Sheriff's Office for maybe 3 years. His body cam blinks red on his chest. Good. More evidence. Got a call about a disturbance, Morrison says, eyes scanning the scene. The broken picture frame, my disheveled hair, the red mark blooming across my cheek that makeup won't hide tomorrow. Everything all right here? Misunderstanding, Vince says smoothly, transforming into the concerned patriarch. My stepdaughter came home after being away, got emotional. You know how family reunions can be. He actually chuckles. Man to man, like they're sharing a beer at Murphy's Tavern. She tripped over the coffee table. I was just helping her up when you arrived. Morrison's eyes find mine. That true, ma'am. I touch my ribs where Vince's fist connected, feeling each breath like broken glass. Mom stands frozen in the kitchen doorway. That dish towel twisted into rope between her white knuckles. Her eyes beg me to agree, to keep the peace, to protect our family's reputation like she's done for 7 years. I need to document my injuries, I say instead, for my own records. The room temperature drops 10 degrees. Vince's jaw clenches, but he maintains his mask. Like I said, she fell, Marla. Tell the officer how clumsy Natalie's always been. Mom's voice comes out whisper thin. Yes, she did trip. The coffee table. She gestures vaguely at furniture that's nowhere near where I'm standing. This is the dance we've performed so many times. When I was 16 and showed up to school with bruised arms, fell down the stairs. 18 with a split lip, walked into a door. 21 with cracked ribs, car accident. Mom perfected her lines through years of rehearsal, and Vince conducted every performance. But I'm not dancing anymore. I'd like to file a report, I tell Morrison. I'm Officer Natalie Rhodes, North Rim Public Safety Corps, badge number 7492. I have audio recording of the entire incident on my phone. Morrison's posture shifts. A fellow officer changes everything we don't lie about domestic violence. His hand moves to his radio. Copy that. I'll need to call my supervisor. While we wait, I document everything with Morrison's camera. The mark on my face, the bruising already forming on my ribs, my shoulder where it hit the wall. Vince watches from his recliner, playing the confused, wounded stepfather, occasionally murmuring to Mom about how he can't believe she's doing this. That's when the memories flood back, uninvited but perfectly timed. The first time he hit me, I was 15. Mom had been dating him for 6 months, and he'd moved in after 3. He was careful at first, only verbal cuts. Financial control. Isolation tactics I was too young to recognize. The physical violence started small. A grabbed wrist, a shove. Always followed by apologies and gifts Mom couldn't afford but somehow appeared. By 17, I'd learned the pattern. He'd drink. Find a reason to rage dinner too cold, house too messy, my grades too low or too high. Didn't matter. the explosion, the violence. Then the honeymoon phase where he'd be almost human for a few weeks. Mom lived for those phases, convinced each one meant he'd changed. I escaped to college on a partial scholarship I'd hidden from him. He'd torn up my first acceptance letter, said I was too stupid for university, worked 3 jobs to cover what loans didn't. But Mom called crying so often I could barely focus on studies. Vince had drained her bank account. Vince had broken her wrist accidentally. Vince had thrown her cat, the one comfort she had, out into traffic. So I came home, dropped out 1 semester before graduation, got a job at the grocery store while secretly applying to the police academy. Vince hated that job too, said I was flirting with customers, accused me of stealing, showed up drunk during my shifts until management had to ban him. The night I left for the academy, he was passed out drunk. I packed 1 bag, left a note for Mom with the domestic violence hotline number hidden in her jewelry box, and drove through the night to North Rim. 2 years of training, learning the law, understanding the psychology of abuse, recognizing gaslighting tactics I'd lived through my whole life. Sergeant Wheeler arrives, a woman with steel gray hair and eyes that miss nothing. She takes my statement, reviews Morrison's body cam, listens to my audio recording. Vince's voice plays tinny through her phone speaker. "You're nothing but a..." The sirens cut him off, but there's enough. "We can arrest him tonight," Wheeler says quietly. "Domestic battery. You have evidence, injuries, and you're a credible witness." I look at Mom, who's aging 10 years in 10 minutes. "Not yet," I tell Wheeler. "I need to do this right. Can you document everything? File the report, but hold on the arrest warrant." Wheeler studies me. "You planning something?" "I'm planning to follow proper legal procedures to ensure my mother's permanent safety," I say carefully. "I know rushing won't help. He'll bail out, come back worse. I need time to build an airtight case." She nods slowly. "You have 72 hours before I have to act on this report. Whatever you're planning, make it count." As the deputies leave, Vince stands in the doorway, watching their taillights disappear. "You've made a big mistake, little girl." I meet his eyes steadily. "No, Vince, you've been making mistakes for 7 years. I'm just starting to count them." I sit in my motel room at the Ridgeview Inn, laptop open, legal pad covered in 3-colored ink, black for facts, red for evidence needed, blue for connections to make. The ice pack against my ribs has gone warm, but I don't get another. Pain keeps me focused. First layer, legal. The protection order forms spread across the bedspread like a roadmap to freedom. Montana law requires specific documentation. I have the police report, medical documentation from the walk-in clinic I visited after leaving Mom's house, photos time-stamped and backed up to 3 cloud services. But I need more. Historical pattern of abuse carries weight in court. I dial Tessa. "I need you to pull something for me." "Jesus. Nat, are you okay?" "When I got your SOS, I'm fine. Listen, can you check for any 911 calls from Mom's address?" "Going back 7 years. Keyboard clicks through the phone. I shouldn't be doing this. Okay, I've got 6 calls. 3 labeled as verbal domestic, 2 welfare checks, 1 noise complaint, no arrests made. 6 times someone called for help. 6 times nothing happened. I write down the dates, cross-reference them with my journal from high school, a hidden document I kept on a password-protected cloud drive Vince never knew existed. The dates align with my entries about bad nights. Second layer, social. Vince Kincaid isn't just any abuser. He's a pillar of Ridgeview's hunting community, member of the Elks Lodge, drinking buddy to half the town council. But pillars crack when you know where to apply pressure. I call Grace Patterson from Pine Street Methodist. She runs the women's shelter in the church basement, unofficial and underfunded but life-saving. "Grace, it's Natalie Rhodes. Honey, I heard you were back in town. How's your mother?" "That's why I'm calling." I tell her everything. The silence on her end stretches until I think we've disconnected. "I've been waiting 7 years for this call," she finally says. "I've got 3 other women who've seen Vince's temper when he drinks at Murphy's. One has photos of bruises on her arms from when he grabbed her in the parking lot. She never reported it. He's friends with her husband." "Would she testify?" For Marla, maybe. For you. With your badge backing it, I think so. I add her name to my list. Then I call Tom Hendricks at the auto shop. Vince brings his truck there. Always pays cash. Always drunk by noon when he picks it up. Tom's daughter went to school with me. She knew about the bruises. I wondered when someone would ask, Tom says carefully. I've got security footage going back 2 years. Multiple instances of him driving drunk off my lot. One shows him backhanding your mom through the truck window when she asked for the keys. You kept it. My daughter made me. Said someday you'd need it. Third layer. Financial. This one's trickier, but potentially devastating. Mom let slip once that Vince put utilities in her name. Credit cards, too. I open my laptop, navigate to the credit monitoring service I secretly set up for her years ago, paying the monthly fee from my account. The damage is worse than I thought. $43,000 in credit card debt. 2 defaulted car loans for vehicles only Vince drives. A payday loan at 28% interest. All in Marla Rhodes' name. I screenshot everything, then dig deeper. Montana law considers financial abuse part of domestic violence. Coerced debt can be challenged in court. I find 3 lawyers who specialize in financial abuse cases. Email them all. My phone buzzes. Mom. He's at the bar, she whispers. Honey, why did you come back? Why now? Because I finally can. Mom, I have the training, the knowledge, the connections. I can end this. You don't understand. He'll destroy us. He knows people. So do I. I pull up the emails already coming in from lawyers interested in her case. Mom, I need you to do something. Go to the kitchen junk drawer. In the back, wrapped in tin foil, there's a USB drive I hid there years ago. Shuffling sounds. I found it. That has 7 years of documentation, photos, recordings, hospital records I snuck copies of. Everything I could gather before I left. Hide it somewhere new. Somewhere he'd never look. She's crying now. Soft little gasps. Natalie, I'm scared. I know, but I'm not 15 anymore. I'm not helpless. And neither are you. After she hangs up, I map out the timeline. 72 hours until Wheeler acts on the report. Tomorrow, I file for the emergency protection order with my evidence. No judge will deny it. Once granted, Vince has to leave the house. Mom can file her own order, supported by mine. The financial forensics will take longer, but I've got a foundation. I pick up my red pen, circle the final piece, Vince's unregistered weapons. He's got at least 3 firearms he bought private sale to avoid background checks. Convicted domestic abusers can't own guns, federal law. Once the protection order goes through, possession becomes a felony. My phone rings. Unknown number. You think you're smart. Vince's voice slurs through the speaker. You think your little badge makes you special? I own this town? I own your mother. And I'll own you before this is over. Vince, calling me violates the no contact advisory from the sheriff's department. Fuck your advisory. You come at me, little girl. I'll bury you. You think people will believe you over me? I've been here 30 years. You're just some wannabe cop who abandoned her family. I hit record. Are you threatening a law enforcement officer? Vince, I'm promising you what happens to bitches who don't know their place. The line goes dead. I save the recording. Email it to Wheeler, Tessa, and the prosecutor's office. Then I add it to my evidence folder, labeled Exhibit 17. 3 colored pens, 3 layers of attack, 3 days to destroy 7 years of terror. I close my eyes, feeling every bruise, every ache. Tomorrow, the real work begins. Tonight, I plan for war. The courthouse hallway stretches like a tunnel, fluorescent lights humming over worn linoleum. I arrive at 7:45 a.m. First in line when the clerk's office opens. My evidence binder weighs 8 pounds. I weighed it this morning. Found something satisfying in that number. 8 pounds of truth against 7 years of lies. Mrs. Doyle sits beside me on the wooden bench, her Sunday church dress pressed sharp. I should have spoken up sooner, she says, clutching her purse. All those nights hearing furniture breaking through the walls. You're speaking up now. That matters. Behind her, 3 more witnesses. Tom Hendricks with his security footage on a flash drive, Grace Patterson with her documentation from the women's shelter, and surprisingly, Officer Morrison from last night, off duty but here on his own time. Domestic violence cases need every voice, he tells me quietly. I've seen too many go sideways without proper support. At 8:30 a.m., we enter Judge Patricia Hawkins's chambers for the emergency protection order hearing. Vince hasn't shown his right since this is ex parte. But his absence speaks volumes. I present methodically the police report, medical documentation, 7 years of journal entries, the USB drive Mom retrieved, containing date-stamped photos of bruises, recordings of threats, ER admission forms she thought I didn't copy. Mrs. Doyle testifies about the sounds, thuds, crashes, Mom's crying. Tom shows the parking lot footage, grainy but clear enough to see Vince strike Mom through the truck window. Judge Hawkins stops me at Exhibit 23. I've seen enough. Officer Rhodes. She signs the order, effective immediately. Mr. Kincaid has 24 hours to vacate the residence. He cannot come within 1,000 feet of you or your mother. Any violation is immediate arrest. But we're not done. I pull out the financial abuse documentation. Your Honor, there's more. The credit reports unfold like a map of economic violence. Judge Hawkins' expression hardens with each fraudulent account, each coerced signature. I'm forwarding this to the county attorney's office. This is potential identity theft, fraud, and financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. Outside the courthouse, Mom waits by her car. She couldn't bring herself to come in, but she's here. I hand her the protection order, and her hands shake as she reads it. It's real, she whispers. It's just the beginning. Sheriff Wheeler pulls up, Deputy Morrison behind her. Ready to serve papers. We convoy to the house. Vince's truck sits crooked in the driveway, mud splattered on the plates. Wheeler approaches while Morrison and I wait by the street. Mom stays in her car, doors locked. The front door explodes open before Wheeler reaches the porch. Vince storms out, face purple with rage. You fucking bitch! He's screaming at me, not even seeing Wheeler. You think a piece of paper changes anything. Mr. Kincaid. Wheeler's voice cuts through his roar. I'm serving you with a protection order. You have 24 hours to, I know what it says. He snatches the papers, tears them in half. Morrison's body cam catches everything. This is my house, my property. Actually, I step forward, staying precisely 1,001 feet away. It's Mom's house, inherited from her father. You're just a long-term guest who's worn out his welcome. That's when he charges. Not at me. He's drunk, but not stupid, but at Mom's car. His fist connects with her window. Safety glass, spider webbing, but holding. Mom screams. Wheeler and Morrison move fast, but I'm already dialing 911 on speaker, creating another record. Ironwood County. What's your emergency? This is Officer Rhodes, badge 7492, active domestic violence incident. Suspect violating protection order served 30 seconds ago. Vince is on the ground now. Morrison's knee in his back, Wheeler cuffing him. He's still screaming about his rights, his property, his connections. Each word another nail in his legal coffin. Violation of protection order, attempted assault, property damage. Wheeler lists the charges. And that's just what I witnessed in the last minute. As they load him into the patrol car, he locks eyes with me through the window. You have no idea what you've done. When I get out. When you get out, I interrupt calmly. You'll face federal weapons charges for those 3 unregistered firearms in your gun safe. The one you thought nobody knew about. The combination is your birthday. Not very creative. Vince. His face goes white. Federal charges mean federal prison. No local connections to save him there. But I'm not finished. While Wheeler drives Vince to county lockup, I meet with Assistant District Attorney Sarah Coleman. She's young, ambitious, and hates domestic abusers with the passion of someone who's seen too many victims fall through cracks. With your evidence, I can stack charges, she says, fingers flying over her keyboard. Assault, terroristic threats, financial fraud, identity theft, witness intimidation from that call he made. If the feds take the weapons charges, he's looking at significant time. I don't want significant time, I tell her. I want him destroyed, legally, financially, socially. I want him to lose everything he used to control her. Sarah smiles, sharp as winter. Then let's talk about asset forfeiture. Those trucks in his name bought with your mother's credit. The guns, the boat he keeps at the marina. If we can prove they're proceeds from financial crimes, they become state property. Exactly. By 4 p.m., local news picks up the story. Local man arrested for domestic violence. They don't name Mom or me, but Ridgeview's small enough that everyone knows. My phone buzzes with texts from high school classmates, teachers who suspected but never knew how to help, even the manager from the grocery store where I used to work. But the one that matters comes from Mom. I'm at Grace's shelter tonight, safe. Thank you. Tomorrow, Vince gets arraigned. His buddies from the Elks Lodge will distance themselves. The town council member who drinks with him will suddenly forget his name. The hunting club will quietly revoke his membership. Because that's what evidence does. It strips away the masks, the excuses, the "he's such a good guy when he's sober" narrative that protects abusers. 8 pounds of truth, 7 years of terror, one protection order that changes everything. I sit in my motel room, ribs aching, face bruised, and feel something I haven't felt since I was 15 years old. Victory. The First National Bank of Ridgeview sits on Main Street like a brick guardian of small-town secrets. I walk Mom through the doors at 9 in some. Sharp, her hand gripping mine like I might disappear. She hasn't been here without Vince in 4 years. He always said he was protecting her from financial confusion. Ms. Rhodes, Officer Rhodes. The manager, Patricia Kern, greets us personally. I called ahead, explained the situation. Patricia's sister survived domestic abuse. She understands. Let's go to my office. The paperwork spreads across Patricia's desk like a map of financial captivity. Joint accounts, all requiring both signatures for changes, except Vince added himself as primary holder 2 years ago. Forging Mom's signature, Patricia pulls up the account history on her screen, turning it so we can see. Every withdrawal over $100, Mr. Kincaid. Every deposit your mother's disability checks and your monthly transfers. Officer Rhodes. Mom stares at the screen, seeing 7 years of theft itemized in green digital numbers. He said I was bad with money, said I needed him to manage things. Classic financial abuse, Patricia says gently. We see it more than you'd think. The good news. With the protection order and fraud documentation, we can freeze everything today. It takes 3 hours. New account in Mom's name only. Every automatic payment redirected. Every joint credit card canceled. Patricia even helps us file disputes for the fraudulent accounts, marking them as coerced debt. The relief on Mom's face when she holds her own debit card, just her name on it, makes my bruised ribs worth it. Our next stop, legal aid, where attorney Jennifer Blackwood waits with divorce papers already drafted. Montana's a no-fault state, but domestic violence changes property division, Jennifer explains. With the financial abuse evidence, we can argue for dissipation of marital assets. Every dollar he stole, every debt he created in your name, comes off his side of the division. Mom signs where Jennifer highlights, each signature stronger than the last. How long until it's final? With the protection order and criminal charges, we can expedite. 60 days if he doesn't contest. Longer if he fights. But, Jennifer smiles. Fighting means more evidence of his abuse enters public record. At 1 p.m., we visit the DMV. The 2 vehicles in Mom's name that only Vince drives reported stolen if he touches them again. The insurance policies listing him canceled effective immediately. Each bureaucratic form feels like cutting another rope that binds Mom to him. Then comes the hardest part, the hunting club. The Ridgeview Sportsman's Lodge squats at the town's edge, a log cabin testament to masculine pride. These men have been Vince's brothers for decades. They've covered for him, lied for him, enabled him. Today, that ends. I walk in alone. Mom waits in the car, not ready for this confrontation. Conversations stop. 8 men turn from the bar. Recognition dawning. Jim Paulson, the club president, sets down his beer. Natalie. Heard about Vince's trouble. It's not trouble, Jim. It's consequences. I pull out my phone. Show him the parking lot footage of Vince hitting Mom. His face pales. 7 years you all knew. Saw bruises at summer barbecues. Heard him brag about keeping his woman in line. Not one of you said anything. Now wait a minute. No. I step closer. Here's what happens now. Vince's membership is revoked, or this video goes to every news station in Montana with a story about how the Ridgeview Sportsman's Lodge harbors domestic abusers. Your choice. The silence stretches taut. Finally, Jim nods. We'll vote him out. Emergency board meeting tomorrow. Tonight, I correct. And I want the letter of expulsion sent to the prosecutor's office. Character witnesses work both ways. Jim. Outside, Mom's crying, but they're different tears now. You stood up to them, all of them. We're not done. The county courthouse stays open until 5 p.m. We file for victims' compensation counseling costs, medical bills, lost wages from when Mom couldn't work because of accidents. Every form strengthens the paper trail that will bury Vince. At 4:30 p.m., my phone rings. Vince's lawyer, Marcus Webb. I put him on speaker so Mom can hear. My client is willing to negotiate, drop the federal weapons charges, and he'll agree to the divorce terms. Your client violated a protection order within 30 seconds of receiving it. He's on video assaulting my mother's vehicle. The weapons were found during a legal search following his arrest. There's nothing to negotiate. Be reasonable, Officer Rhodes. Mr. Kincaid has deep roots in this community. Had, I interrupt. Past tense. The Elks Lodge revoked his membership this morning. The Sportsman's Lodge votes him out tonight. First National froze his accounts. Tom's Auto banned him. Murphy's Tavern is revoking his tabs. Your client's roots are severed, counselor. Webb sighs. Whoa, what do you want? Full confession. Guilty plea to all charges. Maximum restitution to my mother. Agreement to leave Montana permanently upon release. And his signature on divorce papers within 72 hours. That's generous. Option 2 involves federal prosecutors and a forensic accountant digging into every cash transaction your client made in the last decade. How much undeclared income do you think they'll find from his under-the-table construction work? The line goes quiet. Tax evasion. Al Capone's downfall, and maybe Vince's too. I'll discuss it with my client, Webb says finally. After he hangs up, Mom and I sit in the courthouse parking lot, watching the sunset over Ridgeview's mountains. Tomorrow, she meets with a trauma counselor. Next week, we start recovering what Vince stole, not just money, but dignity, safety, self-worth. I changed all the locks, she says suddenly, while you were inside the hunting club. Called a locksmith, paid with my new debit card. First purchase I've made alone in 7 years. I squeeze her hand. How did it feel? Like I could breathe again. My phone buzzes. Ada Coleman. Federal prosecutor accepted the weapons case. With his record and the protection order violation, Vince is looking at 5 years minimum. More if we find additional firearms. 5 years. 1,825 days. Not enough for what he stole from us. But it's a start. Tomorrow. The arraignment. His public defender will argue bail. Coleman will present our evidence. Judge Hawkins will decide if Vince tastes freedom before trial. But tonight, for the first time in 7 years, Mom will sleep in her own house without fear. Her name alone on the deed. Her locks on the doors. Her life, finally, truly, hers. The bruises on my face throb, but I smile anyway. This is what winning looks like, not in some dramatic confrontation, but in paperwork and procedure, in systematic demolition of an abuser's power structure, one signature at a time. The text comes through a burner phone at 11:43 p.m. waking me from restless sleep in the motel room. Unknown number, but I recognize the manipulation instantly. Marla, baby, I'm sorry. Can we talk? Just 5 minutes. Meet me at the Walmart parking lot at midnight. Please. I love you. He's out on bail, $50,000 posted by his brother from Wyoming. The protection order stands. But Vince never met a rule he wouldn't break. I screenshot the message, forward it to Ada Coleman and Sheriff Wheeler, then call Mom. He texted you, didn't he? I don't wait for her answer. He's violating the order by contacting you. This is what we planned for. I know. Her voice wavers but holds. What do I do? Exactly what we discussed. Reply that you'll meet him. Walmart parking lot, by the garden center. 1A, Natalie, trust me. Mom, trust the plan. I'm already pulling on my jacket, checking my phone's recording app, texting Tessa to coordinate with County Dispatch. The Walmart parking lot has 16 security cameras. I mapped them 2 days ago. The garden center area has the best coverage, multiple angles, perfect lighting. At 12:30 a.m., I position myself in the sporting goods section of the 24-hour Walmart. Sightline clear through the windows. Tessa confirms she's in position across the street in an unmarked car. 2 sheriff's deputies wait 3 blocks away. Mom arrives at 12:55 a.m., parks under the brightest light. She's wearing the wire I borrowed from North Rim, not admissible in court without a warrant, but useful for real-time monitoring. Her hands shake as she grips the steering wheel. You're doing great, I tell her through her earpiece. Remember, you're not alone. Vince's truck rumbles into the lot at 107 music blaring, parking sideways across 2 spaces. He's been drinking, I can tell by how he overcorrects getting out of the truck. He approaches Mom's car and she opens her door but doesn't exit, keeping the car between them. Thanks for coming. His voice crackles through the wire. I knew you'd understand. This is all a misunderstanding. Baby. The protection order says, fuck the order. He slams his hand on her car roof. That bitch daughter of yours poisoned everyone against me. But you know better, don't you? You know I never meant to hurt anyone. Vince, you broke my car window. You made me angry if you hadn't let her come back. None of this would have happened. It's your fault. Marla, you and that ungrateful... I want a divorce. Mom's voice steadies. I already filed. The silence stretches 10 seconds. 20. Then Vince laughs, ugly and low. You think you can survive without me? You can't even balance a checkbook. You're nothing. Marla, a broken-down cripple living off disability. Who else would want you? I don't need anyone to want me. I just need you gone. He moves faster than a drunk man should, reaching through her open door, grabbing her wrist. Mom cries out, That's the signal. All units, move in, I say into my phone. The sheriff's vehicles converge from 3 directions, lights blazing, sirens cutting through the night. Vince releases Mom, stumbling backward, his face cycling through confusion, rage, recognition. You set me up. He lurches toward Mom again. You fucking set me up. Deputy Morrison tackles him before he reaches her, taking him down hard on the asphalt. Vince's head bounces off the pavement, not enough to seriously injure, just enough to daze. Morrison's body cam catches everything in pristine detail. Vincent Kincaid, you're under arrest for violation of a protection order, attempted assault, and witness intimidation. Wheeler reads his rights while Morrison cuffs him, making sure the cameras capture every word. Vince spots me walking from the store. His face contorts with pure hatred. You turned her against me. You ruined my life. No, Vince. I stay precisely outside his reach. You contacted her. You chose to come here. You grabbed her. Every decision was yours. This was entrapment? Ada Coleman appears. She's been waiting in her car, too. Actually, Mr. Kincaid, entrapment requires law enforcement to induce you to commit a crime you wouldn't otherwise commit. You contacted Mrs. Rhodes first. You suggested the meeting. You violated the protection order of your own volition. We simply documented it. The Walmart security guard approaches with a thumb drive. Ma'am, our camera's got everything. Multiple angles, high definition. This is the footage from the last hour. Thank you. Coleman bags it as evidence. Mr. Kincaid, given this is your second protection order violation in 72 hours, bail is revoked. You'll remain in custody until trial. They load him into the patrol car, his cursing audible even through the closed windows. Mom stands by her car, trembling but upright. I wrap my arms around her. You did it, I whisper. You were perfect. I was terrified, but you did it anyway. That's what courage is. Coleman approaches with paperwork. Mrs. Rhodes, we'll need a full statement. This violation, combined with the previous charges, means we can push for maximum sentencing. The federal weapons charges are also moving forward. Your ex-husband is looking at 8 to 10 years minimum. Mom signs the statement, each letter carved with determination. Will I have to testify at trial? Maybe. But with tonight's footage, his original attack on Officer Rhodes documented, the financial fraud evidence, and now multiple protection order violations on camera. Coleman smiles grimly. His lawyer will push hard for a plea deal. No prosecutor wants this much evidence presented to a jury. The parking lot empties except for us, Mom, me, Coleman, and a few officers finishing paperwork. The news vans will arrive with dawn, spinning the story of a local man's downfall. But they won't understand the real victory. It's not just that Vince is going to prison. It's that Mom chose to stand up. After 7 years of being told she was nothing, worthless, helpless, she set the trap that caught her abuser. She spoke the words that triggered his rage. She provided the evidence that will lock him away. I want to go home, Mom says suddenly. To my house, my clean, quiet, safe house. Let's go. As we drive through Ridgeview's empty streets, Mom adjusts her rearview mirror, a small action that somehow means everything. She's looking forward now, not constantly checking behind for threats. 8 to 10 years, she murmurs. I'll be 55 when he gets out. Still young enough to have a life. You have a life now. Mom, starting tonight. She pulls into her driveway, and parks perfectly straight. No more leaving room for Vince's truck. No more walking on eggshells in her own home. Inside, she makes chamomile tea in cups that aren't chipped from being thrown. We sit at a table without fear, in a kitchen filled with the sound of nothing but peace. The trap worked perfectly. But the real victory, Mom's hands don't shake anymore. The Ironwood County Courthouse fills beyond capacity for the trial. 3 weeks since the Walmart arrest, and Vince's lawyer finally stopped stalling. I sit in the front row, Mom beside me, her hand steady in mine. Behind us, the town watches, some supporting, others here for the spectacle of Vince Kincaid's public destruction. Marcus Webb, Vince's attorney, looks exhausted. He's tried every angle to suppress evidence, claimed entrapment, argued Miranda violations. Judge Hawkins denied each motion with increasing impatience. Now, Webb's client sits at the defense table in an ill-fitting suit, his face gaunt from 3 weeks of jail food instead of beer. Ada Coleman rises, her opening statement surgical in its precision. The state will show a pattern of domestic violence spanning 7 years, physical assault, financial fraud, witness intimidation, protection order violations. The defendant systematically isolated, abused, and controlled Marla Rhodes while stealing her identity to accumulate debt. When Officer Natalie Rhodes attempted to protect her mother, the defendant assaulted her, threatened her, and violated multiple court orders. She clicks through evidence on the courtroom screen. The body cam footage from the first night, Vince's fist connecting with my ribs. The Walmart security video, him grabbing Mom's wrist. Bank statements showing $43,000 in fraudulent debt. Medical records documenting Mom's accidents over the years. Then Coleman plays the audio from my phone. Vince's voice fills the courtroom. You think your little badge makes you special? I own this town? I own your mother. Several people in the gallery shift uncomfortably. These are Vince's drinking buddies, his hunting partners. They're hearing what he sounds like without the filter of brotherhood and beer. Webb's defense crumbles before it begins. His first witness, Vince's brother from Wyoming, admits under cross-examination that Vince called him drunk, bragging about teaching that bitch cop a lesson. The character witness from the Elks Lodge accidentally mentions seeing bruises on Mom at a Christmas party. Even the bartender from Murphy's, called to testify about Vince's good character, admits he had to cut Vince off multiple times for aggressive behavior. But the moment that breaks everything open comes when Webb, desperate, puts Vince on the stand. "Mr. Kincaid," Webb begins carefully, "tell us about your relationship with Mrs. Rhodes." "I saved her." Vince's voice carries that familiar edge of grievance. "She was nothing when I met her, divorced, broken, could barely function. I gave her everything." And Officer Rhodes, ungrateful brat, always was, thought she was better than everyone, too smart for her own good. "I tried to teach her respect." "What do you mean by teach her respect?" Coleman interrupts her objection. Eyes sharp, Webb tries to redirect, but Vince's anger takes over. She needed discipline, both of them did. A man has rights in his own home. A man deserves respect. If they'd listened, what Coleman presses, they wouldn't have gotten hurt. The courtroom goes silent. Webb closes his eyes in defeat. Vince just confessed to deliberate abuse. Not heated moments or accidents, but calculated violence for control. Coleman's closing argument is brief. The evidence speaks for itself. Webb tries damage control, arguing for minimum sentences, citing Vince's difficult childhood and alcohol problems. But Judge Hawkins has heard enough. "Mr. Kincaid," she begins, voice like winter wind, "you've shown no remorse, no recognition of wrongdoing. You sit in my courtroom and claim ownership of human beings like their property. You violated protection orders designed to keep vulnerable people safe from exactly the kind of man you've proven yourself to be." She sorts through the charges, reading each verdict. Domestic assault in the second degree guilty, financial fraud guilty, identity theft guilty, 2 counts of protection order violation guilty, witness intimidation guilty. Vince's face darkens with each word. His fists clench on the defense table. The federal weapons charges will be addressed separately. Judge Hawkins continues, "But this court sentences you to 6 years state prison for the combined charges, sentences to run consecutively with any federal time. Additionally, you're ordered to pay full restitution of $73,000, the $43,000 in fraudulent debt, plus $30,000 in damages and medical costs." "Your Honor." Webb stands. "My client has no assets." "Your client owns 2 vehicles, a boat, and significant hunting equipment." The judge's tone could freeze flame. "All will be liquidated for restitution. Any remaining debt will follow Mr. Kincaid as wage garnishment for the rest of his life." Vince explodes. "This is bullshit. That bitch set me up. They both did. I'll get them when I get out. Add terroristic threats to the charges." Judge Hawkins tells the court reporter, "Mr. Kincaid just threatened victims in open court. Transport him immediately." The bailiffs move in, but Vince isn't done. He lunges toward our bench, screaming obscenities. Morrison and another deputy tackle him, dragging him out as he continues threatening us. The judge, Coleman, everyone. His final words echo through the courtroom. "You haven't won, I'll be back." The gallery erupts in whispers. Mom stands slowly, turns to face the crowd, Vince's enablers, the neighbors who looked away, the town that protected him with silence. "Yes," she says clearly, "we have won. And when he gets back, if he ever does, I'll still be here. Free. Safe. Mine." She walks out with her head high. I follow. Coleman beside us. In the hallway, people approach women mostly. Some I don't recognize. "My husband hits me too," one whispers. "Seeing this, can you help? My son's girlfriend, her boyfriend." Another woman presses a piece of paper into my hand. "That's her number. Please." By the time we reach the parking lot, I have 7 names, 7 numbers, 7 more stories waiting to be heard. Mom looks at the list, Then at me. This isn't over. Is it not just for us, but for them? Change never is. I think of Vince being processed into state prison, his name entering the system, his fingerprints cataloged, his power stripped away layer by layer. But today was a good start. The news crews surge forward, but we push past. Let them tell their story of a man's downfall. We know the truth. This is a story of two women who refused to be owned, who used the law as a weapon, who proved that evidence and courage can topple even the most entrenched abuser. 6 years state time, plus federal charges pending. By the time Vincent Kincaid sees freedom, Mom will have rebuilt everything he destroyed. She'll have a life, friends, safety, peace. And me, I'll be waiting. Badge still heavy in my pocket, ready for whatever comes next. Because men like Vince always think they'll be back. But women like us, we make sure they never truly return. The federal courthouse stands taller than our county building, all marble and authority. 6 months have passed since Vince's state conviction. Today, the weapons charges the final nail in his legal coffin. The federal prosecutor, a sharp woman named Diana Reeves, lays out the case with ruthless efficiency. 3 unregistered firearms found in Vince's possession. A convicted domestic abuser cannot legally own guns, federal law. No exceptions. Each weapon carries a potential 10-year sentence. Vince looks smaller in federal custody, the orange jumpsuit hanging loose on his shrinking frame. No more local jail where guards knew his name, where friends could visit. Federal detention broke something in him, you can see it in his hollow eyes. His new lawyer, court-appointed because he's broke, attempts a plea. My client will plead guilty to 1 count if the others are dropped. No deals. Reeves cuts him off. Mr. Kincaid threatened a federal officer. Officer Rhodes works for North Rim Public Safety Corps, which operates under federal jurisdiction in National Forest Territory. This case has been flagged by the Department of Justice. We're seeking maximum sentences. The trial lasts 2 days. Vince doesn't testify this time, his lawyer won't let him. But it doesn't matter. The evidence is overwhelming. Photographs of the weapons, sales records from private purchases deliberately structured to avoid background checks, text messages where Vince bragged about having guns the government doesn't know about. The verdict comes at 3:15 p.m. Guilty on all counts. 15 years federal time. The judge announces, to run consecutively with state sentences, with the state's 6 years plus these 15. Mr. Kincaid will serve a minimum of 21 years before possibility of parole. Additionally, lifetime prohibition on firearm possession upon release. 21 years. Vince will be 73 when he gets out, if he lives that long. But the true finale comes outside the courthouse. Television crews wait not just local anymore, but regional affiliates. The story has spread. Small-town woman and her police officer daughter take down longtime abuser using the system that failed them for years. Mom steps to the microphones. She's different now, 60 pounds heavier from eating without fear. Hair grown out silver instead of the blonde Vince demanded. Wearing colors instead of the grays meant to make her invisible. My name is Marla Rhodes, she begins, voice carrying across the courthouse steps. For 7 years, I lived in hell. I was told I was worthless, stupid, nothing. I believed it because when you hear something every day, when it comes with fists and threats, you start thinking it must be true. She pauses, finds my eyes in the crowd, continues. But it wasn't true. And if you're watching this, trapped in your own hell, believing those same lies, they're not true for you either. The system isn't perfect. It failed me many times. But evidence doesn't lie. Documentation doesn't forget. And when you're ready, when you're safe enough to try, the law can be your weapon too. A reporter shouts a question. What would you say to Vincent Kincaid now? Mom considers. Nothing. He's not worth my words anymore. But to his enablers, the people who knew and stayed silent, who saw my bruises and looked away, who heard him brag about keeping me in line and laughed along, you're complicit. Every woman he hurt after you knew is partly on your conscience. We walk to my car through the media gauntlet. Mom moves like someone who owns her space in the world, no longer shrinking, no longer apologizing for existing. The drive back to Ridgeview takes 3 hours. We pass the Walmart where Vince walked into our trap. The courthouse where he was exposed. The house that's now solely Mom's, with new paint and a garden he never would have allowed. 21 years, Mom says quietly. I'll be 76 when he's released. If he survives prison, if he makes parole, if he's stupid enough to come back here where everyone knows what he is. She nods, watching Montana's mountains roll past. You know what the strangest part is? I don't hate him anymore. I nothing him. He's just gone, like a disease that's been cured. We pull into her driveway as the sun sets. The house glows warm with lights he never would have permitted. Electricity costs money, he'd say, while drinking a 12-pack every night. Mom's support group meets here Tuesdays now. 3 women from that courtroom crowd have left their abusers, using Mom's story as proof that escape is possible. Inside, she makes dinner without checking the clock, without calculating his mood, without fear of criticism. We eat in peace, forks clinking on plates that will never be thrown in anger again. I should go, I say eventually. Early shift tomorrow. Wait. Mom disappears into her bedroom, returns with a small box. Inside, a silver badge not official, just a replica. I had this made, to remind myself that I'm my own protection now, that I did this. We did this. I pin it to her shirt. This woman who survived 7 years of hell and emerged not broken, but forged into something stronger. He was wrong about everything, I tell her, but especially one thing. You were never nothing. You were always everything. It just took destroying him to prove it. The news will call this a story about revenge, about justice, about the system finally working, but standing in Mom's kitchen, watching her smile without calculating the cost, I know what this really is. Freedom. 21 years of it. Minimum. And for women like Marla Rhodes, like all the women still trapped in their own versions of Vince Kincaid's control, that's not revenge. That's a beginning. Outside, Ridgeview sleeps quiet under Montana stars, somewhere in federal prison. Vincent Kincaid starts his first night of the next 2 decades behind bars, and in her own home. My mother locks her door not from fear, but from habit, then unlocks it again just because she can. You haven't won, he'd screamed in that courtroom, but he was wrong about that too. We didn't just win, we demolished him completely, legally, financially, permanently, and we did it all by the book. I'm not going anywhere, Mom calls as I reach my car. When he gets out, if he ever does, I'll still be here, still free, still mine. I drive away thinking about those 7 phone numbers in my pocket, 7 more women ready to fight back. Vince thought he was powerful because he could throw a punch. He never understood that real power comes from evidence, from patience, from refusing to break, from turning the system that protected him into the weapon that destroyed him, one document at a time. Thank you for listening to this story. I'd love to know where you're listening from. Please share in the comments below so we can connect. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let me know your thoughts on Natalie and Marla's journey. Your support means everything.